Well, hey, church, can you believe it's already been 2 months since the tornado came through and did all that it did, not only to our church, but to the entire community as well? Let me just say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all that you've been doing. The cleanup efforts in our community has been incredible, and the manpower and the volunteers have been really just a blessing to be a part of, and I am so proud of Parkway Place and all that you guys have been doing. We are officially in, and I have been settling into, I guess, the perch or the loft or whatever you want to call this office area up here of mine. And as we kind of move into the summer, I wanted to give a quick update about what all is actually going on here at the church, kind of our plan and vision moving forward, and some new things that are going to happen that you guys need to be aware of, and I am so excited about. So when you think about all that's happening around Parkway Place, really, in my brain, I think about 4 different areas: roof, the building, landscaping, and contents. The roof is complete. Finally, we are in the dry, no more water intrusion, and if you look at it, it looks really good. We've got all that project is wrapped up. We're working currently on the landscaping. Outside, as we film this video, there are chainsaws and heavy equipment moving around, picking up root balls, and I actually went to a nursery this afternoon and looked at trees to replace those that were blown over. So that leaves us with building and contents. Really, you walk into the building week to week and it looks kind of the same. Looks like there's not been a lot of progress made as we've walked through this. And that's because our contractors and subcontractors have been meeting and identifying areas and issues, and they're submitting all of that through our insurance company. And as soon as those two companies work together, then you'll begin to see some progress throughout the building. So one of the biggest areas that we knew was going to have to be addressed was the sanctuary. If you look up at the ceiling, there's water damage. There's some things going on in there that we know that were going to have to be fixed, and it presented a problem for us, but it's really a creative problem. How do we continue to meet together as a church family when we can't meet in our sanctuary? And our first immediate thought was, let's just move upstairs. Let's go to the children's worship arena. Let's still do church together as a church family. The first Sunday I was here, we didn't have lights, we didn't have electricity, we didn't have stage screens or any of that stuff, and it didn't matter because we were meeting as a church family. And that space has limited space. So our creative solution to this is one that I am so excited about. We're going to go to 2 services on Sundays. We'll have an 8 o'clock worship service. We'll still have our 9:15 connect groups, and then we'll have our normal 10:30 worship service. 2 different options. We're going to trust you guys to choose one or the other to come to. Come early and then go to small groups. Go to small groups and then go to service. Whatever works best for your family. We're not going to assign seats. We're not going to register people. We're just going to make sure that we're all here together at some point over the weekend. Now, this process will probably take us a few months to get the sanctuary back to where we can get back in there. And so this is going to be our new abnormal normal. And I am so excited about it. I love the thought of our church continuing to meet together, regardless of our circumstance, regardless of where we're going to go. We are going to meet together as a church for 2 separate worship times on Sundays, and I cannot wait. So as you can tell, even this room is in process. There's guys in here working, redoing our stage. The room is a mess, but it's still part of the church. It's the process that the church is in, and that's what I love so much about it. When we began to think about being up here and all the logistics that it was going to take to make this room functional for us, I was told this room would hold 252 chairs. Because you guys have been coming so faithfully, we didn't want to cram everybody in. That's why we decided to do 2 services. And my heart just kept being pulled back to this room upstairs, this upper room, if you will. And then God began to draw really hard connective lines back to the upper room in the New Testament. There was a lot of different things that happened in the upper room. Jesus washed the disciples' feet. He shared the Passover meal with his disciples before he was crucified. He shared the Lord's Supper with the men in the upper room. Even after the resurrection, and Jesus met with his disciples in the upper room. He came back a week later and met with Thomas in the upper room. It's just a lot of incredible things happened there. And then we know in Acts chapter 2, the Holy Spirit came when they were gathered in the upper room. So as we gather this summer in the upper room, we will launch into a new preaching series entitled The Upper Room. We're going to see how God worked and moved while he met with his disciples in the upper room. We're going to see how the Spirit came and how the church was launched in the upper room. And we're going to tie that back into our own stories about how God is going to work and move within our church and hopefully through our community as we meet together in the upper room. I cannot wait to launch into this series with you guys. We're going to see how God works and moves in the upper room. We're going to see how he sends his Spirit to the disciples in the upper room. We're going to see how the church is birthed in the upper room. And while we're meeting in our own upper room, we're going to hopefully see God's hand work and move and change within our church and throughout our community as well. Listen, I want you guys to be a part of this. Sunday, June the 11th, we'll start with both services. 8 o'clock service, our 9:15 Connect groups, and then again at 10:30. This will happen all summer long, so join us at one of those times as we meet in the upper room.